All right, guys. Today's gonna be a little different. We're gonna keep working on the sand ridge on the next video, but I got a couple other markers to just do a little work on, and I figured I'll do it on camera as I do it. A couple of them are markers I am not that familiar with at all, but there's a couple of stories behind them, and yeah, lost a coworker and a good friend this week at work, and we just got back from his wake. A little tipsy, but we'll push on from there. Just want to keep my mind occupied. He'd probably appreciate that anyway. This is my other coworker, one of my buddy, his brother's gun. That we play a couple big games together, stuff like that. Cool guy, but I think he said there was a cup seal leak on this G6R. I've never had the opportunity of taking apart a G6R, so first time for everything. Apparently, he has a cup seal for it somewhere. Wow. Here's a cup seal in there. Got a bunch of O-rings. Let's pull this apart a little bit. Check out what one of the newer Bob Long or Field 1 offerings looks like inside. Got a feeling I'm not going to be too impressed with it, but we'll give it a go. Look at that. All right. Exalt style soft face bolt. Pretty Bob Longy the way it is. Like the big hole in it. Cut some weight out of her. Good looking markers. These things look great. They feel phenomenal in the hands, but I just don't expect much out of Bob Long quality normally. Let's just service the regs. Is that supposed to come apart like that? Or am I supposed to take that top part off? Alright. Pretty standard fare. Just a Schrader valve up here. You can pull that out if you want to, but piston is aluminum. Spring stack. Ooh. They didn't vent it. Oh, they vented it. Look at that. So an older Bob Long reg, any Bob Long reg pre this kind of stuff, it's never been vented at the spring stacks. So I always pop a hole in them, normally in the bottom screw myself, just to vent it, because then you don't have this extra air built up that's going to be a variable spring rate on top of your spring. Also lightened it really well, which is pretty cool. I'm going to replace this anemic O-ring with a quad ring, probably. See if we can improve that a little bit. Feels nice. Nice machining. Parts are never poorly machined. Kind of. Feels fine in there. Look at that spring stack. There's a little retainer ring, but that doesn't matter with that. This goes up and down. This just, I guess it goes this way. The way a Bob Long reg works, it puts pressure on the Schrader valve. Once it fills up, this presses down and it closes the Schrader valve. Beautifully simple concept. Wonderfully simple. So they're sealing the actual spring stack with this O-ring, I think, inside, which doesn't exactly make sense, but maybe it's more of a retainer ring. I want to pull this out to see how tight this actually is. So every other, pretty conventional spring stack on her. I don't know what that grease is on it. Almost a huge improvement from the older Bob Long stuff as far as that stuff goes. Huge improvement on the actual manufacturing of that. That's nice. I like that spring stack. I like this piece to keep everything in line. That O-ring is just a retainer, so we're not going to care about this O-ring, which is kind of nice. Keeps it all together. I like that. So big plus to them on that one. This will end up finding the O-ring. I want to replace that with a quad ring. I'm going to use Dow 55 to seal everything back up. And we'll go from there with that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. LPR should be almost identical the way they do them, where it's just a Schrader valve in it. That's always been a bob-along staple. I could probably get a wrench on that, but I'm not sure what. That turns. Looks like that might come apart there, but it doesn't come apart by hand. I'm not going to try to fight it. So we'll pull the grub screw out and see what we can get. And yeah, this is not a marker I'm familiar with at all, so I'll just keep prefacing that. I understand how it works. I understand how Timmy's work. But this is my first time ever getting this deep into a G6R. I think probably shouldn't have done that at all if I if I knew what I was doing with this. Probably would have skipped doing that. I went straight for the clamp this in something that's stronger than my hands. And that's reverse threaded. How about that? That feels pretty sprung too. Jesus. All right, Dowrin piston. I like that. Cut the weight. That's pretty standard bob long fare there. There's a bleed hole, which is great. I like that they've switched over to that. That's actually been touched up a little bit. It's not just a raw blasted stock. Even that's touched up a little bit. Look at that. So, must say, this Field 1 marker, well above the old manufacturing standard that I'm normally used to when it comes to bob long markers. The bore wasn't anything exceptional, just running my finger on it, but it's acceptable. It's definitely better than like an ICD kind of product. How do you come out? So, That ring just pops out. You have another Schrader valve sitting inside. Unless that's leaking, doesn't need any maintenance at all. All right. Delrin, really lightweight. Decent size for a LPR piston. So I'm pretty happy with the generic quality of both these regs. And, you know, the updates from any bob long ring I'm used to, which is, I guess the last bob long ring I looked at was from my, my Vis. And this seems like a step above what that was, which is great. That goes there. That doesn't need anything. I'm going to need an O-ring for this. That looks like an 012 maybe. This is bigger. This might be an 015 or something. Let me go grab some O-rings. Try to find one that matches these. So I think, actually, this is an 016. So we're going to place that with a quad ring. See how that fits in the bore. Not bad. How do I get it out now? Grab something else to get that out. That's pretty good. So I'm going to say it's an 016 or close enough. That's higher pressure, so it shouldn't really care. This is an 012. Yeah. I like that. I like that. All that looks pretty good. I like they switched over to a spring stack, so they don't have to have that that poor finish they used to have. And yeah, I'm fairly impressed. This stuff looks like regular paintball gun stuff and not some garbage that it used to be. Like, this is not bad. Not bad at all. This is what I expect out of a manufacturer kind of stuff. So big props to that Bob Long, or Field 1. I don't know if this came about post Bob Long being acquired by the other guys, or pre, but yes, G6R definitely improved quality on the regs than what I'm used to, which is very nice to see. Because these regs, they are pretty good regs. Like, the whole concept of them is pretty good. Using Schrader valves is pretty infallible. But the old ones were just built terribly. That's the only way you could say it. They were built badly. So I don't know what was on these. It was black. That's probably not great. But maybe I'm just wrong. Assuming a Bob Long guy could come in here and yell at me about that. And say Bob Long makes the best guns. Or used to make the best guns ever. But we'll put a little oil on it. And a little Dow 55. These aren't O-rings, but Dow 55 will work fine for this. And we'll just stack it up the way we had it. I'm gonna be careful with the O-rings in this marker, because I know some of them are metric. I don't know which ones are metric. why they're metric, but some of them are metric in this thing. It's going to look to replace a couple of the dynamic ones, or the ones that I can safely say that I can see a noticeable improvement if I switch them over to something else. So the regs, they're pretty safe to say. It's high pressure. I'm not going to get a lot of bolt stick or anything like that, or any stick at all, because I have the regs set up with the quad rings. The 016 seems to fit really well, and 012 seems to fit really well. So I feel pretty confident in those. Or else I just put the stock rings back on, but this is not a market that I am familiar with. I'm just looking at this first time here. Just want to give it a little servicing. If I'm completely off and it's going to screw everything up, let me know. I think we'll be okay, though. All right. Again, Bob Long Guns use Dow 55 normally. Dow 55, unlike Dow 33, like you'll see in most other paintball markers, it swells O-rings, which honestly, Bob Long always uses it that way because their tolerances always sucked. Their guns were built kind of like shit. So that is why they ended up using Dow 55 to make sure it's sealed. And that's just looking at it from an engineering / guy that has made machinery parts perspective. That is why they use Dow 55. It's because their tolerances were bad. And I have corroboration from that from other people. I'm not going to name them, but that is great. They have that hole there now. You hear that, how that air pissed out of there? That was not the way it used to be. I like the carriage. I'm going to just keep saying it. Like, this is a good reg. This is absolutely a good reg. Not for a Bob Long gun. This is just a good reg. So the way they set that up, kudos. That is doing right by this this design and this brand. So the HPR is done. I'll put a little lube, little love on that one. And we're not going to go all the way into this. Cup seal's leaking. We know the cup seal's leaking. I just want to replace this stuff. And now regs aren't like bolts normally, or like a bolt system. You can give it a little more goo than a standard bolt you can give goo on. You have a lot more pressure going through them. And let's see, this went like this. Yeah, it moves really nice. This is reverse threaded. That's creepy. But it's fine. I guess it makes it easier to unscrew from the body. That's why they did it that way. So you can unscrew this without actually leaving this piece in there. And I guess if you swell the O-rings, it's going to leave these O-rings as is. Give them a little dow. Make sure I clean out the ports. That's a nice quality of life thing. So it screws on and unscrews like a regular thread. And then if you want to actually take the LPR apart, you do it backwards. Which, yeah, actually that's an Allen. So you could actually do it with an Allen. Look at that. All right, so that's nice. I appreciate what they did with these. Absolutely. Around 7 or 8 turns. We will see how it shoots when we shoot this thing. He kept it really clean. It looks good. I'm going to replace these. Not that one. But I'm going to replace these 2 O-rings with quad rings. Just to give them a little better dynamic properties. I could go 50 durometer as well, which would be, I think, almost the same effect. I don't know what the difference is in drag coefficient between the quad ring and dynamic versus a 50 durometer O-ring. But because there's a poppet and it might see some of this shit, we're going to go with the harder durometer, the 70 durometer ring. And keep it from being, increases abrasion resistance. Assuming these are 15s. Looks about right. Yeah, so the harder the durometer, the better the abrasion resistance is. But the harder it is to break the static friction normally. So when you go quad ring, it reduces the static friction of it, but then you can still keep a higher durometer. That's the easiest way I can rationalize it, so you can get a little better abrasion resistance than like a softer durometer O-ring. God damn it, I don't miss this at all. All right. Put just a touch of oil on these. Not going to oil the front. We don't want to do that at all. That should work pretty well in the long run there. So we might have fucked up our adjustment there. Let me just check his eyes to make sure he didn't shred any paint and didn't clean it or anything like that. I'll check the detents as well. Just good standard practice. That's tighter than I want it to be. That looks super clean. That's nice to see. Super clean. I appreciate they left those shitty finger T-dents behind and went with a piston style Delrin detent that really can't wear out. Kudos to that. I'm really digging this gun. Honestly, this is a lot nicer than what I normally expect them to be. Oh, super clean. Looks really good. Great. Great to see. Make sure I put that in the right hole. Don't know why there's 2 holes. Oh, it's for both, I know why there's 2 holes. One is for the eye, the other one is for the detent cover. Ooh, we have to get the cup seal, which is this bolt here. So I might need to actually have this off. Just looking at it. Because that seam kind of goes up through there. So I need to take off that. I think they gave me this marker to look at just in case the cup seal was stuck. because I'm not really doing anything here that's revolutionary. But just in case the cup steel was stuck on the shaft, I have a lathe that I can softly grip both sides in and persuade it to come apart. That not a lot of guys have. So I can get apart something that's fairly stuck without doing a lot of damage to it. 2 CIs, not like the 4C really makes a difference at all. I mean, I don't know why there's 4 wires going to this side and 2 wires going to the other side either. That's strange. I get why there's 2 wires. I don't get what the other 2 wires are doing. Other than, I don't know. Yeah, breech looks good. It looks good. Nice and clean. Did a good job keeping this thing clean. I'm going to assume I got to get rid of that screw as well. And this screw. Let's see. If I unscrew you. All right. So that's off. We can split this body in half. I don't think that matters, but let me lose that screw right down there for the trigger frame. That was pretty loose. I think I can pop the body now. I'll take this pretty slow. Boy. There's some gunk in there. If this doesn't go, I'll use a T-handle. I've always kind of been interested to see how this seal works on these G6Rs. I know they broke apart here. I just never had the opportunity to actually work on one. Right? Look at that. Oh, that's a shitty seal. Oh my god. Okay. So she's cool. Look at that seal, man. Wow. And that's like undercut too. Oh, wow. Yeah, they did some stuff here, man. It's like, it's undercuts. I guess they came in from that way. All right. I think that sealing face is just aluminum. Yeah, it's not magnetic. So I don't know if I lost you guys. but I tossed in an 011 if I did in the back of the rammer, and an 006 in the front. Also tossed an 006 quad ring on the shaft for the cup seal. Alright, you guys didn't hear it, I'm going to say it again. I am not an expert on bob long markers at all. I'm just kind of going with engineering principle and my general understanding of paintball markers when I'm making these decisions. Could be all wrong. I'm putting Dow 55 on all this stuff because it's bob long, or it's field 1, I should say. I don't know if that's accurate either anymore, but it's just the best knowledge I have. If it doesn't work, I'll start looking online and seeing what I'm supposed to put on this thing, or I'll read the manual. But yeah, that's for cowards. So until then, probably should grab a little socket. Been easier with this. Just gonna pull. Guess there's a little thread locker on that. Full cup seal looks so. I don't know. It was leaking, so it doesn't look bad. Just was leaking. New cup seal. I'm trying to cross thread it. Truthfully, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have counted the. Should have took a idea of the overall length of this, because I don't know how far in I'm supposed to go. Might have just screwed that up, but I'm just gonna bury it. So I have this kind of lightly clamped in here, and once it starts moving, I'll call that good. So that would affect a lot if this changes a little bit in length. I think I'm bottomed out. A little more love on that. I got a brand new cup seal in it. Put that anywhere. Conical spring. I'm going to put a little love on that seal. Definitely putting the Dow on this. So Dow 55 goes on all this. Put on my pinky. Like, those two petrify me. This one's not so bad. That's just a an O-ring. Ooh. There's another O-ring. Oh, okay. So these are just O-ring seals too. Ooh, okay, I'm less scared about this than I was. Well, I'm not happy, but That's a miserable seal to put in there. Holy shit. But those are two O-ring seals. That's an O-ring seal. This probably could be a replacement O-ring, but it's the custom shape. Now, if this was a car, I would assume there was a torque spec, but, you know. These were on fairly tight. Let me put the cup seal in, though. All right, those are all in place. Right. I'm not the biggest fan of these bolts, but might be because there's goo in them. We're not exactly going to break this down fully to clean it. Kind of take these Bob Long markers or this Field 1 marker. Might be unfair to Field 1. Like, honestly, if this is the way they're built, this is better than what I used to experience with Bob Long stuff. If this is the way all G6Rs are built, kudos. So this is built pretty well. Not crazy about that, but, you know, it could be worse. If it was built poorly, it would definitely be worse. I love Delrin detents. I hate finger detents. I'll continuously say that to the day I die. It's a stupid idea to use something that's going to wear out versus Delrin. The original Timmy detents were stupid. The Eclipse detents were stupid. I don't know if Eclipse still uses them. Yeah, minus setting pressures. We kind of fully serviced this marker now. Pretty good. Easy to get to. Not going to screw around with the internal air systems of a Bob Long marker if I don't have to. Put that in. Bumper seems okay. I feel like they could have made these back caps adjustable, but I guess they didn't. Like, I do miss adjustable back caps for poppet valves especially. That allowed you to tune it to your paint, but I guess enough people didn't bother doing that they just kind of stopped doing it in their markers. And they switched over to these soft face bolts instead to let you smack your paint and hopefully not hurt it. Oh. I don't feel like that's hitting the same. So me feel how that feels. And this could be where I have to go to the message boards and see what length the cup seal is supposed to be. So that's all the way forward. And I can't bring it any more forward. That's a little bit, but I think my cup seal is too far forward. Maybe I should have tried that before I went with the whole putting it back together thing. But I feel that that's a little too far forward. Yeah, not in love with that. I don't know if I have to take the eye covers off. I think I do. I'm happy with the regs. I like what I did there. I think I'm happy with the rammer. I like what I did there. This doesn't feel right. And this is kind of critical. So it's not awesome that there's like a variable. Because if the shaft's too long, it's going to start venting air up to the ball before the ball's fully forward. If the shaft's too short, it's not going to vent enough air. So that's very precise what it's supposed to be. And I just don't know what that's supposed to be. So that feels like it's opening a lot. So guess it's opening. I don't know. Well, if I hold it, seating. Let me just type in, see if I can get this, see if I can get an answer on the length of this, because that's fairly critical. G6R cup seal length. If you decide to replace your poppet seal, be very careful not to foul the sealing edge of the body, as this cannot be repaired and is costly to replace. Because you have to replace the whole back end of the body. That's aluminum. So don't fuck around with that with something that's hard, like a Allen key or something. Body hasp, seal poppet shaft. Do not stick a tool inside the body where the poppet seal is against the body. The body is damaged, this area cannot be repaired and is costly to replace. Alright. So they don't tell me length, which is kind of scary. I mean, it didn't feel right there, but maybe that's how I have it lubed. Put a little oil on it as well. This is a silicone-based oil that I'm using. All right. Make sure the face is nice and clean. I guess if you actually do damage it, the only way to really go about that is maybe lapping it in. Just seeing if you can lap it in. Get it recut, but that's gonna... anything like that's gonna change the geometry of it. That's petrifying. Yeah, I'm not super cool at how they do that. Let's yeah, it feels a lot better than it did. I don't know. Maybe just need a little oil love. I might toss a little oil on the rammer as well, along with the Dow 55. But I think I hear my son getting in the bath, so I'm going to be going upstairs. Alright guys, I gotta apologize. I don't know how much you've seen there. I don't know how much you've seen me yelling about things, but the cup seal is in. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know the exact length it's supposed to be. I checked the manual. I did not see a length specification. That would matter a lot on a cup seal, because if it's too long, it's going to activate before the ball is fully clear of the breech, which is something that happened often with like some of the alien markers. And if it's not long enough, it's not going to get a full, it's not going to fully open. I decided to put a little oil on it as well. The Dow 55 should help it swell. The oil should help it move. So if it's too long, it's a problem. If it's too short, it's a problem. It should be within a spec. I did not find a spec in the manual, which kind of sucks. So we're just going to go with it. The LPR might be out of adjustment. I'll check that. I want to see if it fires, honestly, and see how it fires. First, before I go through all that work, I checked that again. I add a little lube to the cup seal, and I just tighten everything up. So she should be ready to shoot now. That's not good. Oh. Oh, it's a bob long, and I have to, nope. I don't know why it says it's 4C. It's definitely 2C I on it. There's only 2 eyes there, I think. Fuck it. Let's see what happens. I don't know how to turn the eyes off in this thing either. What tank do I have? That's probably high pressure. You don't want to put too high of a pressure tank on this. I think this one's pretty low. Definitely still leaking out of the cup seal. Gone away. Leaky cup seal, no more. I don't know how to turn the eyes off. Not a clue. Alright, so that's it for the first part. I'll try to shoot some paint through it just to make sure it's working. Feels like it's going pretty well. I don't think I doubt a Venet. Oh, Venet, look at that. Good for you, Bob. Field 1, whoever the fuck you are now. Good for you. Alright, so God, I just love the way these feel, honestly. I've always loved the ergonomics of these marks. That's why I use them. Honestly, I've used them before, and not because how they're built, but this one is built shockingly well. I don't love how this whole thing is set up. You know, it even says in the manual, do not put anything hard down to touch the cup seal face because you're going to fuck it up, and it's impossible to fix because it's just aluminum. But yeah, this is a great marker. I don't love there's no spec on the cup seal itself. That needs a spec. I would love to know the length it's supposed to be. Maybe it's a tech thing. The techs know what it is. But yeah, this is solidly built for what I was expecting. So that's the first one we're doing. This one's done with for right now. Next one we're doing will be a freestyle. Sorry, my camera keeps turning off. I gotta figure out why the fuck it turns off randomly right now. It's really starting to annoy me. Alright guys, that's it for the G6R. You'll see it shooting hopefully in a little bit. Alright guys, put the G6R away for right now. Now we're gonna look at this Naughty Dog's Freestyle FS7 that put it through the parts bath. This is my buddy's marker that he wants me to build up. And we're going to ignore right now the LPR and the HPR because this is a real deal Naughty Dogs stuff here. So we got to fix that. We're going to ignore some parts here just because they're being replaced. But we'll go through them as well. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of little bits and bolts. This is another marker that I'm not overly familiar with. I've shot a freestyle before, so that's a little different, but I've owned a couple freestyles, but never really played with them. This was actually mine. I got it just because it was a Naughty Dogs, and it came super cheap back in the day. So that's why I grabbed it. It's a cool one. He wants to do it up like a real Naughty Dogs team gun would have been, where they didn't use the shitty low pressure regular, high pressure regular provided by ICD, but they switched them out for. Some had Palmers on them, a lot of AKA products on it, and that's what we're going to switch it out to. So he is getting those two regs, and I just want to get everything else together in the interim of that. And I took it apart. I washed it. Let me just toss the bolt stuff together. This has a detent set up. I need to make a pull pin for him because it doesn't exist anymore, or never existed. In this particular marker that I had, this came in a parts bin. Eye covers. That thing goes in the bolt somewhere. This also goes in the bolt somewhere. Let's say they kind of do that doohickey. Yeah, no, I took this apart. I'm not exactly sure how everything goes back together, which is really good. That goes in there like that. That screws into the other side. It's cool. It's actually a Knox board, which is the Naughty Dog board, so that's really cool. Real Knox board in it. That O-ring matters. 90% positive that these go on like this here. So we're just gonna toss you back in there, not worry about you for right now. A couple of O-rings go there. A lot of little fit up O-rings on these markers. The wiring harness is a little damaged. I don't have the proper tools to fully work on this one, which is unfortunate. Like, I can't recrimp that, and that's really unfortunate because that is for the solenoid wire, and that is damaged. I do have an old Freestyle, like an FS5 that I could harvest some parts off of, but I think they're different. I'm going to take the trigger off there because the same trigger, and he likes that trigger, so God bless. But first, let's get into talking about these regulators. So this is the low pressure reg housing, at least. And I think the HPR, I didn't even have an HPR on this at the time. Those are garbage. These are also garbage. This was a part of it. The fit and finish, it's not a bad design. The design's fine. It's a good enough size. Everything should have been right. It's just how it was machined makes it so bad. So inconsistent. This board feels semi-okay, but it's rough. The edges are rough. They're sharp. This piece is sharp. This has this little brass piece that goes in it as like the cup. It's really rough inside. It was never finished. It's just raw aluminum, so it just galls up. There's a super soft seal just to seal it because there's no way to get precision or get anything consistent because this is such a loose fit, loose board because they needed the air to go around it. So it just turned into a giant piece of shit when it really didn't have to be that. But, you know, ICD products, especially these, this is different. That I was pleasantly surprised by the Field 1 marker. Want to do a little more digging on that. I want to see if Bob Long actually made, or Field 1 actually made the barrels round. Because that was something that old Bob Long barrels aren't, is they're not round, which is still amazing to me. I want to see if Field 1 changed that. But yeah, this is the next project. I'm just going to piece it together a little bit here. And keep running from there. Let's see. I mean, there's definitely some crap we got to do here. So this piece definitely went in over here. This is some real good stuff I'm doing here, I know. That one in there, that's the detent. There's a spring that goes in there. I want to say it's like that makes sense. Not really. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that looks good. Something like that. Oh. Something like that. Yeah, now we're cooking with gas. Let's piece this back together. Take a look at it, see if we can improve anything. Couple O-rings in and out. So that's like a seal to try to close off the dump port. This is basically an ion, the way these are set up. These are set up just like an ion would have been. Harder to machine these than the ion bolt, which, you know, unfortunate, but this was iteration 3 or 4. I think this is an FS7, so I think it's the 3rd iteration of the bolt, so there's like a little more efficiency stuff with that. These really are nice shooting markers. They're just they were complete air hogs in the beginning, but they were kind of small, which is pretty cool. And you know, they were quick back in 2004 when they were cheap, quick, and kind of small, but they just sucked down air. And they weren't very reliable. The regs were very unreliable, which I think leads to most of the problems with them that people have with them, at least. But I mean, the concept of them was solid. Solid concept. I like the down in pieces there. And it's just a blow forward. Like, that spring went to the high pressure regulator, or the low pressure regulator. Yep. So it's like a spring assist, but I think that probably, I think it acts more to close it as well. Might just be a spring assist, but I don't think so. Maybe it is. We'll dig into that a little deeper. Look how gnarled this shit is, and it barely got used. Like, that's not great. It's not bad, but it's not ideal. Need some O-rings. Gotta give this thing some love. Body's cool. I like it was a quick strip back in 2007. That was, you know, huge. They actually had a machine away the body where they're doing the paw prints. Like, that's a difficult thing to machine there because that center section is oh, it's a lot sharper than you want it to be when you're like touching this shit. Mates up pretty well though. But that is that's it. It looks really cool. And it's, you know, it's an ion essentially with a well, it came out before the ion, but it's an ion with an LPR on it. So that's what made it a little less reliable, because you had to balance your high pressure and low pressure regulator, unlike the ion on these. And yeah, let's just let's start running through her. Missing that front O-ring, that's making me all this weeble wobble we're getting. So we'll put the body over here. Gonna replace all the O-rings with quad rings, dynamic rings if I can. Only thing that moves. Yeah, this part is so sharp. They didn't deburr any of this shit. You actually see, they deburred the holes a touch, but those could probably get deburred more. This is the piston. Oh, that LPR gives me fucking nightmares. It's literally nightmare fuel. Yeah, they barely deburred this. This is an air transfer. This part needs some help. So sharp there. I'm actually bring this one up on the lathe. I want to just knock that edge down. I want to knock that edge down so it doesn't cut me anymore trying to deal with it. Front surface was machined with an end mill. You can see the marks on it. It's just so sharp. The back sharp, the front sharp. I want to knock some of this down with a file. The threads are not sharp. If anything, it's what should be sharp. The threads are not. Let's see. Well, there's no O-ring, so this is not a sealing fit at all. There's no O-ring in it. So it doesn't seal the chamber, but I guess it blocks it. So this bolt has air here on it from the front, the LPR. The low pressure air comes in here, pushes this backwards. All the high pressure air is built up against this piston seal in that bore. I don't know if you guys can see down there, but the high pressure air is there. The low pressure air shoves this back. This vents the low pressure, and this comes sliding forward. Once it gets to this tri point here, it breaks the seal and lets the high pressure air vent out. Now, this is our dump chamber, which has this guy in it. And yeah, I guess the point of this guy is to prevent all of the air from going through, because the air is going to come in to these ports here, which line up to these. If I put this back on here, and you do that, that lines up there, so the air sits in here. It flows through to these ports into the main dump chamber when the bolt is backwards to charge itself. And then this helps, the spring helps, it's like a spring assisted bolt, helps push it forward and seals off the dump chamber a little bit as it goes forward. That could probably be done better. That's unfortunate, but this is a nice tight part. This is not. Like, too much wiggle, too much loss. It definitely prevents all of the air from venting. It tightens it up, but this isn't like a sealed chamber, which, God, you really wish it would have been. Because even this part, like, I guess they were worried about drag with an O-ring on this piece. If you put an O-ring on this piece, you brought these holes a little bit back. You could have, you would have locked this in place. There's not a whole lot of room to reinvent the wheel here, but it's just a missed opportunity, I feel. Let's see. Maybe as I'm pondering it, we could think to do something a little cooler. Maybe remake this particular piece into something that works a little better. Even though it's going to be a pain in the ass. But, cool idea. You know, it's doesn't seal the breach, but that might also, it doesn't seal the dump chamber. That might have been because of the old die pattern, or the old matrix pattern. They might have not been able to do that. Like, make an actual sealed chamber. So just doing this to you know, drastically restrict the flow through the chamber, but this is just a chunk of aluminum. It can't hold tolerance. This is a piece of steel. If this keeps working at it, it's going to wear away at this. So this piece, you know, disintegrates through time. This is a piece of stainless, actually, but it's hefty. That edge is sharp, so it is tearing at that aluminum every cycle. And it hits. And it's not the end of the world, because this isn't, like, pressurized. You know, like, seriously pressurized here, but it is kind of a pain. You can't make that seal because then you're not going to be able to push it back with your low pressure air, which is why they did it this way. It's just kind of a bummer, the whole thing. Like, how would you make that better? So like, you need to make this longer. You need to get this section a little longer. You can. You have all of this room. Get that hole further back, and you can make one of these so it comes forward and it seals. Except when it's back, it's never gonna come back forward either. Yeah, that's why they didn't do this. This can't seal the way this works. It has to just be a flow restrictor. We might remake this piece out of brass, though, if I feel real confident in doing it, and try to get these fits a lot tighter and have a material that's, you know, more prone to not wear as quickly as the aluminum's going to. But we'll see what we get to with this. Eventually, he's going to want to shoot this thing. So, the rest of it seems pretty standard fare. I'm pretty confident with these markers. You know, make this work old school paintball style. I'll figure out that part. There's going to be just a bunch of little O-rings and other stupid shit in this that I need to figure out what goes where. That is an O-ring that goes in there on the inside, I'm pretty sure. I do know a guy who is a bit of an expert on these, which is good. And I'm probably going to end up having to reach out to him. There's an O-ring in there captured, which that one would be fun to replace. And they just made so many little blocks with this. They couldn't, I guess, figure out how to manufacture it to be slicker. There's like a key in there for that. Cool old school electro. But just, they did a lot of work because I guess it was cheaper for them. Whatever they had. Solenoid sits down there. Good for them. I mean, it is some through body stuff. This would be like an excellent marker for like a gas through frame to go into this block here and get rid of all the hoses if you really went nuts. But I always dug freestyles in their own right. I mean, there's ions, but you know, so's a shocker now. So it's the same shooter. It just probably gonna be it's even smoother because you have a low pressure air. So if you get that actually balanced right, it feels really, really smooth to shoot these markers. They're really cool. They just, you know, lack production quality. Like the whole time, the whole problem with this marker is just lack of production quality on the pieces that they make. Oh, that's nice. Like that screws out. And some of the parts they make really nice. Like this bolt, 3-piece design. I think the stainless stuff was for wear resistance because this is stainless. The plunger that it hits is stainless, which adds a little weight to things. You don't always want that weight, but you know, stainless is a reasonable compromise. That's nice. Nice and easy to take out. And yeah, that's the bolt system. I gotta talk. Ooh. So that's another one. Hopefully I just gotta send that all the way in because that was not all the way in. That was like out here. That might be why this thing wasn't working in the first place. Hopefully I just got to send that all the way home, and that would be good. But yeah, there's definitely room to improve some things here. Decent flow through it. I mean, for what it is. Could be better, but decent. Good characteristics of it. But yeah, I'm going to get with him, and this is just a generic overview of this marker, just to look at it. He still has to get me a couple parts, and maybe we will do something a little extra special with it, with a couple of custom-made parts to improve it a little more. Still gotta fix that. I think I know the guy to talk to about that, though, which would be really good. Next on the agenda, as I throw shit everywhere, next on the agenda, Angel. What we're used to seeing here. And I'm just going to go through it quickly, break it down, and take some things apart, give her a once-over, and tune it up real quick. It's going to need a battery. I want to check the board. I need to get my my metric Allens out. And we'll start from there and just pull this one apart as part of this trifecta. And hopefully we can shoot some of these at the end. I'm missing my number 3 on this one. Damn. Need a cassette. I'm trying to love this tight set, but I really don't. This set's annoying. I need to get another nice metric set of Allens. We're going to lose this high rise. Oh, D10's nice. I don't know if he wants it to be black, but it's nice. Oh, that's got to go. That is hideous, but we'll do what we can. Stock LCD bolt. Adrenaline breech knob. Nice little touch. It's real clean, classic LCD. Not that scratched up for what it is, which is really good. We got to lose that. We're going to lose that as well. Yeah, this is... I got to talk to him, see if he wants this. This is ugly. Battery is completely out of it right now. Older style. Round hole, older style. That's for the key. That's not for the mic or the switch that they have. But we're going to switch over to a switch. Just because no one really wants to dick around with those key tab things. Doesn't feel awesome. See what we're in for. I wonder if it actually had IntelliFeed at one point, or they just lost their jewels on this custom Pewter Angel WDP exclusive top plate cover. Clean, really clean inside. Gross as that thing is, it's clean. Let's pop the grips off. We'll get a battery in it real quick and see if the board functions right. Battery completely gone, but it looks I'm hopeful for it. Six volt out. Fire. Come on, baby. Safe. I don't know what it's set for, but it works. Mode B is fine. Maximum rate of fire, 0. $20. 12, 14. Yeah, leave the vibrator on. I don't know if it vibrates. We'll see. Cool. So, board looks like it's in good shape. LCD boards are, they're kind of ticking time bombs, but the board looks like it's in good shape right now. That looks fine. Never seen so much writing on an Angel solenoid wire, but I don't know. Looks like a factory crimp. I don't think there's actually a reason to take the frame off this one. It feels super clean and super nice. But we'll clean it up a little bit. We're not going to even... I'm going to take the trigger out and work on the trigger a little bit, because they did something weird on this trigger itself. First thing I noticed with it was they put in set screws in here, which is not uncommon as like a way to keep the trigger pin in and stuff like that from back in the day. But it's a little weird. It's dual set screwed. There's still a pin in there. So, oh, it might be another set screw. Holy shit. All right. I mean, it's done nice enough. They didn't screw me on it. That one is not stainless. Oh, has a tip. Not thrilled with this, but let's see what we're looking at carnage wise. Yeah, the trigger comes out now. You. Huh. Well, you don't see that every day. But it's not the end of the world. It's just not a great way to do it. It's all threaded now, which kind of blows. The trigger itself isn't. I'll talk to him. I'll see what we can do about that. Trigger frame looks pretty good though. Let's pop off the back cap. Keep going with this. Screws are a little tight in this one, I'm going to say that. But the threads look good, so someone's just a little overzealous with tightening everything down. All right. Clean, clean, clean. No problems. I like that. This ram's had a few people look at it before. You see all the wear on it. Stainless hammer. Whoa. Hello. Orange rings. It's been opened at some point in its life. Rings are replaced by, I guess, something from a die matrix. Huh. Feels good. Ooh. The bumper is Not in as good a shape as it should be. Stainless steel hammer does, you know, fuck all. And a big ship with that. The weight sounded nice and strong. Let's pop her out. Re-lube it just so we know we don't have any leaks before we try to air it up again. A little strange looking. I think that's got rewired at one point, but nothing offensive. All right. Battery popped. You can see a little bit of corrosion there. So it's not just gone. That thing actually blew up in it. Which, hey, didn't get to the board, which is good. Come on, baby. Chunky ring there. See if I can get a view of that for you guys. You look in there. Yeah, got all corrosion down in there. Not the end of the world. Probably have to clean that up really quick with a hone just to get the new battery in, which isn't the end of the world either, but just something to look out for when you're doing it. Grab my LPR tool. Not crazy there. A lot of lube, and recent too. A lot of white lube, Dow 33 probably. Not a problem, just a comment. Stainless steel bolt. That's not factory, which is fine, but yeah, it's not a factory bolt. Not a problem with that, though. All looks really clean. I'm going to say that. It's doing well. Good shape. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? There's huh. That shouldn't be like that. How about that? I don't know if you guys can see that in there. It's like a spring wrapped up where it shouldn't be. This is punched or dimple punch different too than you standard or used to see. Wonder how impossible that is to take apart. Yeah, I can't take it apart. What they do is they thread it in and then they stamp it to lock it so it can never come apart. Which is fine, except, you know, eventually this might need servicing and then you're kind of SOL. Huh. Let's see what that does. Might be replacing that piece, might not be. Valve. Cup seal was replaced at one point in its life. Got the white lube all over everything again. It's all good. All right. She's broken down. I'm going to get her cleaned up. And I think that's it for this video. And the next one will be me reassembling it. I think the G6R, the little meet and greet on the Freestyle, and this breakdown was enough for one video. And might be too much. Sand ridge parts came in, which is good. We're going to jump on that as well. And yeah, we're going to build all these things back up. I'll have the shooting of the G6R with some of this other stuff too coming. And we'll see what we can do. Alright guys, that's it for this one. See ya.